Today was the fourth day since two adorable little wild foxes broke into my backyard. When I first saw them a few days ago, I could hardly believe my eyes. At first, I thought they were small stray dogs wandering through the grass. But as they stepped closer, I realized they were actually two young foxes. They were tiny, cautious, and incredibly curious. Since that first encounter, they have stayed in my backyard for a couple of days. And somehow, seeing them has become the highlight of my mornings. Every day they seem a little less afraid, a little more confident, and a little more willing to trust me. This morning, I woke up wondering if they would come back again. The weather was beautiful. The sky was clear. A gentle breeze moved through the trees around the backyard. It felt like the perfect day to spend some time outside. Before the foxes arrived, I decided to prepare something special for them. Today, I bought fresh chicken drumstick meat and nutritious milk. I wanted to give them a good meal because they are still growing and need plenty of energy. I carefully cut the chicken into small bite-sized pieces and placed them onto a clean plate. Then I poured fresh milk into a shallow bowl nearby. Everything was ready. Now all I could do was wait. For a while, the backyard remained quiet. Birds chirped in the trees. Leaves rustled softly in the wind. And the sunlight slowly spread across the grass. Then suddenly, I noticed movement near the edge of the yard. The two little foxes had arrived. Just like the previous days. The first fox stepped out from behind a bush and stopped to look around. A few seconds later, the second fox appeared behind it. They stood there carefully, scanning everything before moving forward. Even after 4 days, they were still wild animals. Their caution was understandable. But compared to the first day, their behavior had changed noticeably. Instead of immediately running away when they saw me, they simply watched me from a distance. Their bright eyes followed every movement. Their ears pointed forward with curiosity. It felt like they were trying to decide whether I was a friend. I stayed completely still and allowed them to approach at their own pace. Slowly, step by step, they moved closer. The smell of fresh chicken clearly caught their attention. Their noses twitched constantly as they followed the scent. The more adventurous fox reached the food first. It lowered its head and carefully sniffed the chicken. For a moment, it looked uncertain. Then it grabbed a piece and quickly jumped backward. The second fox watched closely. After seeing nothing bad happen, it finally joined in. Soon both foxes were happily eating. Watching them enjoy the meal made me smile. The way they ate was completely different from domestic dogs. They remained alert while eating, frequently lifting their heads to look around. Every sound immediately caught their attention. Every movement in the distance made them pause. Life in the wild teaches animals to stay vigilant, even while enjoying a good meal. The chicken seemed to be a huge success. Both foxes eagerly grabbed piece after piece. Occasionally one fox would pick up a larger piece and run a short distance away before eating it. The other fox did the same. It was almost as if they wanted to make sure nobody could steal their prize. After finishing most of the chicken, they discovered the bowl of milk. At first, they approached it cautiously. The smaller fox sniffed the bowl several times. Then it carefully took a few laps. A moment later, the second fox joined in. Soon both were drinking happily. The entire scene felt peaceful. Two young foxes enjoying a meal under the morning sunlight. A few days ago, this would have been impossible. On the first day, they barely stayed in the yard for more than a few moments. Now they seemed comfortable enough to relax. That growing trust felt special. As they finished eating, their playful side started to appear again. The more energetic fox suddenly pounced toward its sibling. The second fox immediately jumped away. Within seconds, they were chasing each other across the grass. Back and forth. Around bushes. Across the yard. Their movements were incredibly fast. One moment they were wrestling. The next moment they were sprinting in circles. Then suddenly they would stop and stare at each other before starting another game. Watching them play was impossible not to enjoy. Their excitement was contagious. They seemed full of energy after their meal. At one point, one fox grabbed a small stick from the ground. The other immediately tried to take it. A playful tug-of-war followed. Neither fox wanted to give up. Eventually, they both lost interest and ran off after something else. Their attention spans seemed incredibly short. Everything in the backyard appeared interesting to them. A falling leaf. A butterfly. A moving shadow. Every small thing became an adventure. I sat quietly nearby and simply watched. Moments like these remind me how beautiful wildlife can be. Many people never get the opportunity to observe wild foxes up close, especially in a calm and natural setting. Seeing these two young foxes explore the world together felt like a privilege. As the morning continued, the foxes gradually became more relaxed. They spent less time watching for danger and more time exploring. One fox even lay down in the grass for a few minutes. Its sibling quickly joined it. For a brief moment, both simply rested under the sunlight. They looked peaceful, healthy, and happy. Looking at them now, it was hard to believe how nervous they had been on the first day. Back then, every movement scared them. Now they were beginning to treat the backyard as a familiar place. Of course, they were still wild animals. And I always respected their space. Trust takes time. Especially with wildlife. The goal was never to force interaction. Only to provide a safe and calm environment. Eventually, the foxes became active again. They explored the corners of the yard, sniffing plants and investigating every new smell. One fox became fascinated with a flower bed and spent several minutes digging gently through the soil. The other wandered over to inspect a fallen branch. Everything seemed exciting to them. Watching their curiosity develop each day has been one of the most rewarding parts of this experience. As the sun climbed higher, the foxes slowly began moving toward the edge of the yard again. Their adventure for the morning was coming to an end. Before leaving, they stopped and looked back one last time. For a few seconds, both foxes stood quietly in the grass. Then they disappeared into the bushes beyond the backyard. The yard suddenly felt much quieter. But I couldn't stop smiling. Today had been another wonderful visit. The fresh chicken drumstick meat and nutritious milk seemed to be exactly what they needed. They ate well. They played. They explored. And most importantly, they looked healthy and energetic. Every day these two little foxes become a little braver, a little stronger, and a little more familiar with their surroundings. I don't know how long they will continue visiting my backyard. Wild animals eventually follow their own paths. But for now, I feel grateful for every visit. Seeing these two adorable fox cubs grow and gain confidence day by day has been an unforgettable experience. And I already find myself looking forward to tomorrow, wondering what new adventure the two little foxes will bring to the backyard next.